All right, party people, we're back. And I'm going to get these dates right. I just told Sophie I'm living beyond space and time. Okay. Just like Joe Dispenza taught me. It's July 2nd through July 8th. All
That's
right. I got
right.
it. I got it right this time. I'm so proud of
Good
myself.
job.
Now,
And that's
buckle up,
it.
y'all.
End of
Yeah.
forecast. Sorry.
We're done. Oh my God. Okay, cool. We told you the dates. Okay. Listen to me. The next week is going to be a week 9. Now, listen, don't everyone panic all at once right now. I know that the 9 is a really tough energy. Us ladies over here, Sophie and I, are in our year 9. And let me tell you, it's really, really rough. It's like one of these years where you're like, when does it end?
I know. And we're
When
both so excited because we're like, the last time we were in a year 9, it was so fun. But I think we just forgot about how hard it was.
No, my last year 9 was a lot of fun.
Mhm.
I think, I don't know. I almost feel like as you get older, it's like things are a little bit more serious, right? Like I didn't have a company when I was in my last year 9. Like I wasn't serious about the boyfriend I had back then, right? It's just like,
Mm,
same with you. Like you weren't an entrepreneur back then. But
totally.
we digress. Basically, this is a week 9, and week 9 is a time of endings, closure, and reflection, right? It's the last number in numerology with the single digits, right? Because it's 1 through 9 is the energy that we're always focused on, except the master numbers, which apply to the life path and life destiny. But essentially, this week is really a time to release what no longer serves us in order to make space for new beginnings. It's an opportunity to complete projects, to tie up loose ends, to identify and let go of old patterns and belief systems, and to really like transform yourself. 9 is kind of this energy of like the caterpillar turning into the butterfly, right? I always like to think about that, where the caterpillar goes into the cocoon and then it melts down and then it, grows wings, then fights its way out. But you're not really a butterfly until the 1, right? So this
Mm.
is really a time to kind of just like self reflect on a personal level, let go, go within, be introspective, journal, meditate, take stock of anything that you feel it's time to maybe end. And it might not even be that serious. It might be like, hey, this week I decided I want to end this gym membership because I never go.
Mhm.
Or I want to pay down my credit card because this just feels like the week to do it, right? Like you can choose the
Mm.
endings. You can choose what you want to complete. Now, again, if there are some things happening in your relationship right now where you're like, I don't know about this, there could be an ending in regards to like an ego death, or there could be an ending to a pattern that you've been kind of perpetuating. Or again, it could be an ending of like, hey, it's time to let go of some of the relationships in my life that just kind of aren't working out for me. Now, remember that the weekly energy is kind of like this little mini blip. It's
Mhm.
not as big of a deal as like the yearly and the monthly energy, but it
Mhm.
still definitely does apply. So again, this is a really powerful week for closure and healing and for personal growth. So it's really just about trusting the process and navigating the endings with grace and compassion for yourself, and just focusing on the fact that you're preparing for new beginnings that are going to be coming your way. Now, my biggest advice for this is to surrender and let go and let God, as we always say, let go
Mhm.
and let flow. Because
Mm.
again, like if you resist in the 9, and Sophie knows this in your year 9, if you resist, you're going to have some pushback, right? So it's best to just surrender,
Mm.
come from a place of love and acceptance, let the waves wash over you, right? It's like you're in the ocean right now and there's a set rolling in, lots of waves are crashing on you, and you just got to learn how to surf the waves. You can't control the waves, but you can learn how to ride them. So that's really kind of the energy numerologically from
Mm.
July 2nd through the 8th. So I know this does coincide with some
I know.
astrological
It
aspects that are
really does.
happening.
But I have a question. So if
Yeah.
is this 9 gonna hit everyone the same? Like, because my life path is 3, and 3, it does it go a little bit better with that because it's a multiple, or is that kinda like, nope, it's still gonna hit you? Like, I was wondering
So
that as you were talking.
then the 9 weekly energy, same with the
Mhm.
monthly and the yearly,
Mhm.
they're always going to hit you because it's like that
Yeah.
collective energy. So
Yeah.
even if you're not fully invested in it and
Mhm.
you don't feel it so much on a personal level, you'll feel it in the collective. Like, have you
Mhm.
ever had those moments where you're kind of like, everyone's kind of losing their mind right now? And
Yeah.
like, I'm okay, but everyone around me, right? It's like one of those moments. But I will say that your life path does sometimes have an impact on how you experience the numerological
Yeah.
year cycles, right? So, as a 3, you do well in energies that are multiples of 3. So 3, 6, 9, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So it might not be as challenging for you, but
Mhm.
I think that more so than your life path number, it's important to kind of note like where you're coming from as you
Mhm.
enter the week on like a personal level. Like knowing we're coming into a 9, like kind of being like, okay, cool, is there something I've been holding on to that
Mm.
I'm afraid to let go of? Maybe I'll let go of it now so that this
Mhm.
week can feel as intense. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, no, totally. I mean, and it's so interesting because the 9 energy really does go well with the astrology of what's going on, which we have. I mean, the biggest thing really is the full moon. It's July 3rd. So everybody mark your calendars,
Mhm.
July 3rd, full moon. It's in Western Capricorn, but it's in Vedic Sagittarius, and it's specifically in the lunar mansion Purva Ashada, which is all about purifying
Huh.
the ego. So this is opposite Mercury trine Jupiter. So I know that's a lot we're going to unpack here. So let's first start with what full moons mean, which very much goes with the 9 because full moons are all about completion. Full moons are all about releasing. Full moons is the last cycle of the moon. So it's really all about letting go of the things that don't serve you. It's closing the chapter. So that really does coincide with the 9 energy. With the opposition to Mercury and trine Jupiter, this tells me that you'll be receiving a lot of messages from your guides, from the universe, from people around you, right? Whether it's subconscious or conscious. Mercury is the planet that rules communication, intellect, and strategy. And oppositions, I was explaining to someone, is more of a push pull energy. It's a prompting kind of energy. It's not a challenge. It's like a, hey, let me nudge you. Trine Jupiter is a really positive aspect. So there's a lot of growth here because Jupiter's all about growth and trines are ease and harmony. And so even though you have a lot of like scary, more like scary, like 9, so you're finalizing and you're letting go and you're releasing, and full moons kind of have a reputation of being a little bit emotional, not a little bit emotional, let's be
Yeah.
super emotional. It's all in the namesake of growth and finding your truth. And, the specific lunar mansion it's in, Purva Ashada, is really all about purification of the ego. So it's really about confronting your
Oof.
shadow.
Oh God.
I know, right? So it's like when you
That's
talk about,
very 9, by the way, for
right?
everyone listening. I told Sophie the other day, I was like, I want to nickname the personal year 9 the shadow year. So that
Mhm.
totally goes with that. Wow.
Totally. And like, I mean, this is really all about your personal truth, and purification of the ego is ego death. And like, having ego isn't all a bad thing. We need ego in order to even like plant seeds of like where we want to go. It's holding on to the ego, right? When you don't need to hold on to it anymore, right? The process of
Yeah.
detachment. And so it's interesting because full moons are really about releasing and like kind of like releasing and healing and being able to move forward. And we do need to purge in order to move forward. And so
Mhm.
that's in a nutshell what this full moon is really going to be about. And it's interesting because this specific constellation is a little bit of an aggressive constellation. Like it's all about personal gain, to be honest, but like in this, and that's why it's like purification of ego. It kind of comes in because sometimes you can be a little bit ruthless with like, what do I need to cut out? What do I need to cut out? But that's so that you can plant seeds of truth and hope and devotion for the self. So sometimes it might actually be expressed as like a, you're really having to center the self and think about the self, which is a little bit more of an aggressive kind of energy. But when you think about all the things that you have to cut out, the attachments that we have oftentimes are due to, what we think this person needs me. That person needs me. This project, this idea, it really needs me. It's like, that's actually all about ego. It's like, at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself these hard questions. And so I think that's what this full moon is really going to be about. And it is in a sense positioned nicely with the trine of Jupiter, right? The opposition of Mercury. And so I always say, like, let the insights come through and like let yourself be transformed and grow with this. And so that starts at the beginning of the week. And honestly, it's kind of like, I don't know if you have anything else that's going to take over this full moon energy because it's such an emotional one.
Lord,
And
I'll be
I
flying
know.
on that day. But what I wanted to say while you were talking
Mhm,
about that, and I just looked it up, the full moons do correspond with the new moon in the same sign that
mhm,
happens 6 months earlier.
mm,
And that new moon was December 23rd. So there might have been something that was going on December
mm,
23rd that is now wrapping up July 3rd.
mhm.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
just
No,
really
that's,
wanted to point that out because I do feel that there's always like some sort of coincidence, so to speak, that happens. So definitely look into that if you're listening to this.
yeah, totally. And I really love that kind of reflection aspect of what the full moon and the new moons do represent in terms of tracking kind of your
Mhm.
own growth. So, my recommendations really with this full moon is to do yourself a little releasing ritual. I think we've mentioned the cord cutting. If you need to cut cords, like this is kind of the full moons are like the best time to cut cords. Not that you have to only
Yeah.
cut cords on full moons. Um, but I mean, this goes really nicely with the 9 energy. And, being
Yeah.
able to understand that like it's an emotional week. And it's interesting because I feel like last week was actually a more positive time. We had like the sun conjunct Mercury, which is a really fun energy.
We had that
Uh,
8 energy,
mhm,
money,
money.
power.
Yeah, exactly. And this week it's
Mhm.
like kind of prepare and like if you got to cry it out, like cry it out. Like just let it all out. Um and so I'm excited
Cue
because
the Frozen song. Let it
let it
go, let it
go.
go.
Yeah. I mean, it's
That's
funny because
actually a really good song.
it is perfect for the full moon,
We
perfect
should
for the
start making
night.
like playlists for the week or something, like playlists for like full moon in Capricorn. Here you go, guys.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So yeah, that's kind of what's going on astrologically that I'm seeing. And it's just funny because we're going to be together on the full moon and like we're treating ourselves to a whole spa situation. So I'm excited about that. Well,
Well, it's your birthday too. Not that we wouldn't do that normally,
I
but
know.
it's your birthday. So we got to go
Yeah.
big or go home. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But
All right. Well, I
I
was
was
just
just
going to say, I feel like, all right. So
mhm.
nothing else happening astrologically that we need to know about. Just like, here's a full moon.
We have Mercury sextile Uranus, which is a little bit of a minor
Okay.
aspect, July 6th, which I think is actually about changing your perspectives and really, um, taking note of surprises that might come your way in what happens after you actually release. That's happening July
Hmm.
6th, but nothing else major that I think is going to overtake this full moon. I think this full moon's I mean, the after effects of the full moon kinda take a while, like, I mean, especially for me,
Yeah.
I tend to get horrible sleep. I have crazy dreams, so guys, write your dreams down because your guides are sending you messages. So, write all your dreams down, and that kinda takes the cake for the week is really this big full
Yeah.
moon. Mhm.
Okay. Awesome. Well, seems like we've given a lot of information. We
Yeah.
like to keep these short and sweet because
Mhm.
that's how we are, short and sweet, direct and to the point. So thank you for sharing that, Sophie. And
Yeah.
anyone who's watching or listening, let us know how your week's going. Comment below. We really, really love to hear from y'all and to know like how these are impacting you
Mhm.
and what what's aligning in your week. So happy full moon, everyone.
Happy full
And
moon, happy
we'll be
9.
back. We'll be back next week.
Don't forget to subscribe to Kaerhart's channel because we will be back next week. So
Boom.
Bye, everyone.
I always forget to say that. Yeah.